Coming up next, we will be having exercise 7C and 7D, in which we are still talking about solving simultaneous equation, but this time we are talking about algebraic method. That means we are using some math way and solve it directly instead of drawing a diagram. There are two methods, if you still remember we mentioned in the lesson. One is called method of substitution, and the other one, you can also write it in the heading, helping you to revise for your examination, which is called method of elimination. Elimination means it's like take away, to remove something. And substitution, you know the word substitution already. So now let's take a look in number 1, and to recall how you are going to use substitution to do so. And then next, okay, and I cover the original answer first. And the key to use the method called method of substitution would be we want to find not alone, but how will I say in this way? We want to find a single x or y. So this is a little trick we are going to solve the problem. What do we mean by single? Single, now in the question you can see there's a single y, one y only. We call it single. So that's why 3x on the right hand side is not single. We also have x and we also have y. And that's why in number 1, you'll find 3 single items, 3 single unknowns. And then so among them, we will find one of them is very special, very useful. Can you guess? Who is it? Yes, we say the first one is better because this one is a subject. Because it's y equal to something, which is very important in order to do substitution. And then that's why we will say this is called equation 1 and equation 2. And we say we put 1 into 2 in the question. So now what do we mean by substitute or put? And then now you see y is equal to 3x, and you put it into the equation number 2. That's why in the solving equation you have x plus, okay, now we substitute. Originally it's y, but y is equal to 3x. That's why we will say 3x now, which is equal to 4. Okay, let's repeat again. And okay, let's rub away the thing first. So when we are talking about putting 1, that means we replace y into number 2. That means the value of y is replaced by line 1, which is 3x, 3x, 3x. And so it helps us to solve the equation afterward. 4x equal to 1, no, not 1, equal to 4, so x equal to 1. Is it the end of the question? Definitely not, because in the question we are going to find y and x respectively. That's the meaning of solve simultaneous equation in our work. So that's why after finding the value of x, then you have to put x equal to 1 back to number 1 or number 2. Both are helpful. You'll make a choice. For example, I choose 1 and then put it into number 1. That's why y equal to 3 times 1 is equal to 3. And finally, we say xy equal to 1, 3. That's all. Some of you may be a bit puzzled because, wow, is it possible to redo it by saying that put x equal to 1 into number 2? Alright, let's try it. And then in this case, you have x, not x now, is 1 plus y equal to 4. Y is also equal to 3. Can you see that they're the same? And then we have the same conclusion, same answer, which is equal to 1, 3. This is a very easy question about method of substitution. Is it alright to you? Next, we take a look at number 2. And once again, we search for single x or y first. So that's why you have single x, single y over there. Among them, which one is useful? Well, if you consider the idea of subject, it seems like in our question, we have one subject in line equation 1 and you have also subject x in equation 2. So what does that mean? That means in order to do the question, you have two ways to do so. You can say put 1 into number 2 and then I won't do the work for you, or you can put 2 into number 1. Both of them helps you to solve the equation and get the same answer. You might try them out by yourselves in your own workbook. Next, we try to read some harder question, but the same principle applies in the question like find a single one first. For example, number 3 you have single x, single y. In number 4 there is only one single m, and so that's why it makes the question a bit different. Let's go back to number 3 first, and I'll try to work out the first solution for you. And then, so this time is not good because x is together with 5y, so that's why you need to remove it first. As a result, in the workbook, then you say from 1, you have x equal to minus 5y, and we label it as equation 3. After you've got the subject x, now you can put it in x in the equation 2. And we'll write it as put number 3 into number 2. And it goes to 3. Your x now is called minus 5y plus y minus 14 equals 0. So that's what we mean by substitution. Next, you simplify it is minus 15y plus y equal 14. Generally, we will leave unknown on one side and a number on the other side. You have minus 14y is 14 and y is minus 1. Afterward, you need to find x out by putting y is equal to 1 into either number 3, number 2, or number 1. Any one of them is okay. For example, I choose 1 here because it looks simpler, and then for the rest, I leave it for you. Let's go to number 4. Number 4, you have only one single m in equation 2, so that's why the only good choice will be we call from 2. We have m is 3 minus 2n, and we label it as number 3. And as a result, for 3, we'll put it to the 1 which hasn't been used, called number 1. And this time you see the substitution is not is a bit harder because m here will be substituted here, but the phrase consists of two terms. As a result, after doing substitution, you have 2 times 3 minus 2n plus 5n equal to 1. Next, to simplify it is 6 minus 4n plus 5n equal to 1. N is on the left, and can you move the 6 to the right? And it's minus 5. Afterward, you put n is minus 5 into, again, you can choose number 3, number 2, or number 1. For example, I definitely won't choose number 1, it's harder, right? Maybe I choose number 2. So that's why it's n plus 2 times minus 5 equal to 3. And for the rest, you'll work it out by yourself. Next, in number 5 and number 6, they are so-called hardest one in substitution, because if you read through the question, none of the AB nor PQ, they are single. In this case, it goes to the worst case in substitution that we won't have easy calculation this time, because say in number 5 here, because none of them is single, so that's why we definitely can't avoid having fraction. What I mean, it means that, like, for example, if I choose from 1, a now is your 4 minus 3b over 2. We call it like equation number 3. This fraction over 2 is unavoidable because for the rest you may be over 3 if you choose 3b, it may be over 4 if you choose 4a, or if you have over 5 when you choose 5b. None of them are easy. So that's why I choose over 2 in the question here. And then afterward, we are still doing the same job, but the calculation onwards are definitely harder. We call put number 3 into the 1, number 2 we haven't used before. And then the calculation becomes 4 times 4 minus 3b over 2 plus 5b equal to 8. Wow, somehow I'm a bit lucky because you will see 4 and 2 here can be cancelled. So that's why the calculation will be a bit easier. After cancellation is 2 here, multiply to 4 minus 3b. Don't touch the brackets as it's very easy for you to make careless mistakes. And then plus 5b equal to 8. You have 8 minus 6b plus 5b equal to 8. And surprisingly it's 0 for the number on the right. You still have minus b on the left, and where b is 0. And then finally, you put b is 0 into any of the equation you like. It can be 3, can be 2, can be 1. For example, if you choose number 1, and then it goes to 2a equal to 4 minus 3 times 0. And you can find the answer for a quite easily. When we come to number 6, we may not have such luck to have cancellation. So maybe let's try, see whether I'm lucky this time. From 1, for example, you choose 5p to be a subject. So that's why 5p is equal to 6 minus 2q, and then p is equal to 6 minus 2q over 5. We call equation number 3. Afterward, we put 3 into the remaining equation called number 2, where you have 3 times 6 minus 2q over 5 minus 8q equal to minus 1. There's no luck this time because you can't avoid to deal with the fraction, very big fraction here. So let's go back to the concept you have in primary school, which 3 is multiplied up, which gives you 18 minus 6q over 5 minus 8q equal to minus 1. And in order to deal with the denominator 5, let's see whether you remember a little trick I taught you, which you multiply 5, multiply 5, multiply 5 to each of the term to cancel the denominator. So that's why the first one is 18 minus 6q. Second one after multiplying 5 is minus 40q, whereas on the right is minus 5. So let's go on. It goes to minus 46q. You can check it in calculator. And on the right, can you see the number? What is it? Yes, it's minus 23. Calculator again, 1 over 2. So finally, you put q is 1 over 2 into any of the equation as you like. For example, I pick number 1, and you finish the rest of the question. And then so this is so-called harder question in solving equation. And this time you will see that when I pick p to be 6 minus 2q over 5, and you've got some trouble in dealing with the fraction. But if you try to redo the question by picking 2q as your focus, writing 2q is 6 minus 5p, and q is 6 minus 5p, and redo everything again, you find that there's a little bit luck in doing number 6. That's good. We go to the last 2 questions. And this time you have something, you have something, you have something. So that's why you have to split it into 2 equations. One is x minus 3y minus 2 equals 0, while the other one is called 2x plus y plus 10 equals 0. And then let's recall the idea. Search for the single term. You have x and y here. So that's why you have to pick them as a subject in your equation 3. I leave this question to you. Next, we come to number 8. And once again, you need to rewrite it into 2 equations. One is 1 over 2x minus y plus 6 equal to 2, while the other one is called x minus 2 over 3y equal to 2. But in these 2 equations, both of them carry fraction, which is something I don't like in solving equation because the fraction makes the calculation a bit harder. So that's why I will use the trick again. I multiply 2, 2, 2, 2 in equation 1 to take away the over 2, while I multiply 3, 3, 3 to equation 2 to simplify it. And then, so the way I present will be I use a large brackets to include them, and then multiply 2 and 3 respectively to the equation, simplify it. In equation 1, it goes to x minus 2y plus 12 equal to 4, while the second line becomes 3x minus 2y equal to 6, and now I've got my equation 1 and 2. After I prepare the equations, next we search for the single one, and this time you only have x to be a single one in the question. And then as a result, I will start from number 1, where x will be equal to 4 minus 12 plus 2y. Don't forget to simplify the numbers. It's minus x plus 2y, where I call equation 3. And then in this case, you can put number 3 into number 2, and you can solve the problem afterward. This is the way how we use method of substitution in solving two equations. Hope it helps you. Bye.